Rob's Arcade, Rob's Arcade, where the games get played and the games get saved so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
All right, welcome back to Rob's Arcade. Uh, doing another little, I don't know, I guess like a weekly, monthly kind of catch up here. One of my favorite things to do here on my YouTube channel is hang out here in this kind of like virtual world, this cool apartment that I have here, kind of like a talk show, and just kind of catch up with you guys and talk and hang out. I like to do um, like different things here, but this is definitely one of my favorite things. Is just kind of hanging out here on GTA and doing kind of like a little podcast chat with you guys, and kind of like a Monday motivation too. I guess that's really what this is, like the Rob's Arcade Monday motivation show. Typically, I'll do them over the weekend, kind of get them ready for Monday. But we're actually here on the 3rd of August here on this Monday, coming to you almost kind of live, I guess. It's crazy. We're already into August, but I'm excited. I'm really happy. I'm glad. I'm usually not one to be like this, to kind of like rush through the holidays. I feel like I've had this kind of like conversation with one of my cousins before. Just kind of like being in the moment, enjoying it because it's like one of those things people are like, oh man, I can't wait for this, and oh man, it's too cold, and I can't wait for that to be over. But then as soon as it ends, you kind of run into a whole new, um, group of issues, whether it's the heat or just school being out and trying to keep kids occupied or um, dealing with like downpours or just there's always some kind of thing going on. So I like to try to live in the moment and not rush things. But the fact that we're getting into August means we're getting closer to September, which means we're getting closer to October. And that is something I definitely get excited for when it comes to um, enjoying Halloween. Probably one of my favorite holidays. A lot of people, probably say like Christmas is their favorite. Um, I don't know. I think over the years, like Halloween starting to surpass Christmas only because I feel like Christmas, there's so much to do. There's so many things to get in, like, you got to go here, you got to run around. There's like a lot of obligation, I guess is the word I'm looking for when it comes to Christmas. Lots of obligation. Um, with Halloween, it's a free form, celebrate how you want to in that spooky Halloween season. Some people go like hardcore with like the Blood and the Massacre. Others might just pop on some like Disney Plus, Hollow Scream kind of things on Hulu or something, and do something a little more low key. Some people might pass out candy, decorate the whole yard, but there's like no obligation. You have to do this, you have to do that. You've got to get a Halloween tree. Like if you don't get a Christmas tree, people look like you're sideways. But there's a bit more freedom in Halloween. So I've always, I think, enjoyed that aspect. And then it's like I said, I've gotten older. It's like, oh, getting presents and all that. Like it just doesn't really uh, appeal to me as much as it did when I was a kid. So um, just definitely getting excited for that. But I am sad. Like last week was Shark Week, and that's up there, man. That's like, you talk about it's not really a holiday, but it's definitely like those times of years where I get excited. Some people are like, oh man, I love Thanksgiving, or I get excited for this or that. Um, some people get excited for draft. They get excited for the draft, or just different things. And for me, man, Shark Week is, oh gosh, I got into an argument once with my ex about Shark Week and the cable, and I remember that so clearly because we were going like most people have nowadays, like they've gone from the whole cable thing to streaming, which I'm thinking about now going from streaming back to like the physical uh, copies of movies and things like that. But we kind of got away from the cable aspect, and we're going into just like maybe streaming a couple of things. Like I think it was starting off with like maybe Netflix and Hulu, or like two of the big things. And we're like, we'll just stream with those. And I think maybe At some point, we got like Peacock or we got Paramount or something like that too. Uh, but there wasn't a way to really watch Shark Week unless you got like a Discovery streaming service or app or something like that, or I was another. I don't even think another streaming service was doing it at that time. Like I think now, like HBO picks it up, so you can watch all of the live um, or current shows that are coming out. Like as they drop throughout the week of Shark Week, you can kind of keep up with it. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, back then it was just like the Discovery app, maybe, but there wasn't like an actual streaming service for it. So like I remember I could watch a few things, but there was not really anything unless you wanted to pay for a subscription or something that you could really do. And I just remember getting so frustrated because she wanted to cancel that cable subscription like right in July, and I'm like, let's just wait till August. Can we please just wait till August? One more month. It's not going to kill us. And nope, we're not. Nope, we're doing it now. We're doing it now. Like everything, my way to highway, and clearly why for exes, and oh, that pissed me off so much because I love Shark Week, and I just remember being so excited to see it um, the years previous, and then all of a sudden I couldn't watch it anymore. And then we moved to Florida, and luckily I don't know, I think something like the cable service came included with like a bunch of stuff that we were getting with the apartment or whatever. So I think the cable service came with the apartment, if I'm not mistaken. It was just kind of like looped in. Everybody in the cable or the complex got the same cable system, or subscription or whatever you want to call it. The same cable system. Um, but yeah, that's just always been one of my favorite things. And not to say that like I love like the idea of like swimming with sharks or that I ever would. But I just love all of those. I mean, the animals are amazing, the sharks are amazing, but I just love all the documentaries. I think, like, actually, I like the just sheer randomness of Shark Week because each episode of it is just such, even though it's all on the same stuff, it's so vastly different. Like, one, you might have more of a celebrity aspect, which, they seem kind of cheesy, but there's something to be learned from those. Um, then you have some that are more like studies of the sharks or the shark's environment and that sort of thing. Then there are those that like are really entertaining because they test the limits of things or they prove the power of something or um, they'll use some kind of science to test what the fastest shark is or the most maneuverable shark is or who has the strongest bite. And I just like love all of that kind of like innovation. They built like mechanical sharks to kind of like duplicate that stuff with like hydraulic jaws and all of that, um, or when they build things too, like even though that's like to me it's the most like, oh my gosh, um, like MacGyver, kind of like I feel like there was like there's a show like I don't know, like a scientist or something. It's like um, Honey I Shrunk the Kids. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. It's such a Honey I Shrunk the Kids thing where you have like this dad scientist who like makes all these things, like the gremlins or whatever, like this dad who just like invents things and they never work. They're always glitchy or goofy, or you're kind of like, what the hell is the purpose of why even make one of these? And then you have that in Shark Week all the time where you just have these guys who are like making like tanks or submarine, like they're making submarines out of stuff they're finding around their apartment and like going to investigate sharks. And it's just like, oh my god, you guys are nuts. It's like, let me go pop some popcorn. This is not going to go well. um, there's a lot of like forced spectacle too, of course, with all of it. I think one of my uh, least favorite, even though I do like, I can't like turn away from it, is those setups where it's like, oh no, are they going to make it, and have to like cut to commercial, and it's like clearly it's the shark's going kind of crazy, and it's like ramming their submarine, but they're going to get out, they're going to be okay. And there's always like that last shot before they go to commercial where it's like somebody up on the boat, and it's like, oh no, can you hear us? Are you okay? And then it just like cut away, but it's like the worst delivery of the line. Like it's so, it's like it's clearly life or death scenario, but they're like, oh no, I don't think he can hear us. This is like the worst delivery of any line ever. Um, but yeah, I eat all that up. I love it. I go crazy for it. I love to. I think one of my favorite things is how they. Well, first of all, it's always like an English guy, or an Australian guy, or a guy from New Zealand, who's kind of like leading this expedition, right? And then they're on land and they're kind of talking about what they're going to do. And you can understand everything they're saying, even through their accent, no matter how heavy the accent is or whatever. It's always like, we're going to be going out to shark infested waters to see if we can discover the largest shark ever seen on, whatever it is. So you can hear it. They're fine. Everything is good. Everything's, they're up on the boat. They're talking through everything. All right. Here we've got our rigs. We've got all of our equipment. I think we're ready to go. It's all whatever, calm, collected. Then as soon as the sharks show up, right, you got your divers in the water and there's like sharks all around and they can't really see what's going on because the waters are murky or whatever. They start screaming because they always get excited. And that's what I love about them. They always get so excited every time they see sharks. And then as soon as they see the sharks, these guys in their accents, you can't understand a fucking word they're saying. They're getting so excited. Oh my God, is he looking around? And it's just like, dude, calm the, like, I need to hear, one, they're sharks, okay? So, one, I need to hear what you're saying because I don't want to die. Two, like, the audience needs to hear what you're saying. You've spent, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars on all of this equipment and production. Like, take time to deliver your lines correctly. All right, man? Like, calm the fuck down. But they do. They get so excited. And it's always the same scenario. Like, they're going to get, like, like the breach. Oh, my God. The breaching episodes are so insane. So they go to catch the breaches. And it's always, this area isn't known to have sharks that breach, but we've heard from locals that sharks are breaching here. And then they'll talk to like 5 or 6 people, and they're all like, oh, yeah, these things breach all day, every day. And then while they're talking about it, they'll be like on a pier or kind of like on a boat close to shore, and they'll see off in the distance a shark breach. And they'll be like, oh my God, did you guys see that? Like a shark just breached while we were talking about sharks breaching. And then they'll say they're going out to they're like, okay, we're going to shark infested waters and we're going to throw a bunch of chum and blood and fish guts into the water. And hopefully some sharks will turn up. And then the sharks show up and they start jumping out of the water. And these guys lose their minds like they've never seen a shark before. I've been watching Shark Week for over a decade. And I think it's one of the coolest things. I think the breaches are amazing. I'm not taking anything away from the power and beauty of a great white breaching completely from the water. Like it's phenomenal. But these guys, and again, I know it's like spectacle for the show. It's like they lose their shit. Like like they woke up in the morning and their faucet just started shooting golden diamonds, Oh my God, did you see that? Holy smokes. but it would kill. It's like, yeah, well, it's like you guys went to shark infested waters and you threw a bunch of blood and like, yeah, you got them all. It to me be like if they went to a pool, if you went to like a swimming pool and a shark breached, like that's the kind of reaction. Like, oh my god, did you see that shark just jump out of a swimming pool? Like that's the kind of reaction I feel like that warrants. But yeah, I don't know. It geeks me out, but I love watching it. Um, and I can't wait for next year. And there's still a bunch of stuff like I didn't get a chance to watch everything that came out this past week, so I still got some stuff uh, to run through. But always really fun. And it's just been busy. God, like I've got a couple of days off coming up, and I just had a couple. But man, the last couple of weeks were brutal. I had a nice long like 4 day weekend, but to get it I had to work like 8 days in a row. Then I got a nice little break, and then I came back and did a 9 stint. Like that, it was tough. 9 days in a row. That's almost like a 2 week, or no days off. Think about like most people work like what 5 days max, like a Monday through Friday kind of a thing. You know. Excuse me. Um, but even when I was working, I literally like just woke up and like jumped into here. So excuse me, I'm a little groggy. Um, but even when I worked at the Y and I was like not off on Saturday and Sunday, I still had my 2 days off in a row and only worked like 5 days. Like working pushing 7 is tough, but then doing like 8, 9 back to back, like that was tough. So it's been a little brutal, because I'm still like trying to get my workouts in and do all of that in between um, my shifts. Like it's not like I work, I come home, I go to sleep and all that. Like I'll come home, I'll work out, I do my thing, and you know what have you. But it's kind of tough to get in and um, like watch TV or work out or do these different things um, after getting off so late, and also trying to do a comic book challenge for the Spider-Man movie. I went and saw that. It's a brand new day, opening day on Friday with a friend of mine. Truly amazing. That was crazy. That was one of those things like I just kind of threw that out there in the wind, like, hey, do you want to go see this? And they had to work, and it was like, they live kind of far out, and it's like literally like a Hail Mary. Like, let me just see if this will stick. And they're like, yeah, well, let's go. And I'm like, what the fuck? You got to be kidding me. So it just kind of like really worked out. I had off that day too. It's almost like the cosmos uh, just kind of aligned, and everything seemed to kind of really work out. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I was trying to read all my comic books before. It's really funny. So I'm trying to read all my comic books before watching the movie, and I got through them. But I'll admit I omitted chunks of my run, and I have a hefty amount of Spider-Man comics, but I omitted chunks of the run because I felt like I had just read them. I read Spider-Man so often uh, that it was like, oh, I just read this like a couple weeks ago, where I started the challenge, and I'm like, I just read this like a month ago, and so I did omit several pieces, again because I read his collections so often. And then I did a video on TikTok kind of saying that now that the challenge in the movie was out and it was over and all of that, that I would never, ever do anything like that again. Um, it was fun at first, but it became, I mean, challenges are supposed to be challenging, right? But then it became like it taxing. It was a great word for it. Almost like, why am I doing this to myself? And there were nights where I was like, oh man, I kind of want to read like a Stephen King book, or I would, watch a movie and go, oh man, I kind of want to read some Transformer comics, or I want to read a Ninja Turtle comic, and then go, oh man, if I'm going to be reading comics, I really need to be reading my Spider-Man collection. And so then it came to like a point where it's like I couldn't even really read other things that I wanted to read, and I was just like, I'm never doing that again. I'm never doing that again. too many comics. If I'm going to pick a collection to read, it's got to be either something that I don't read often or that isn't as hefty. And then I went and saw the movie, absolutely loved it. And then I got home and it was like all I want to do is read my Spider-Man comics again, like just pull them all out, especially the stuff with like him and the Punisher. It was it was a great film, but I'm like, damn, I really want to read all of my Spider-Man comics all over. It's funny, like Tom Holland, man. I'm gonna probably do like a whole movie review on that guy, or on that movie. Excuse me, but that guy, man, he just I don't know, like there's something about Tom Holland that I truly enjoy. Everybody calls like Toby the Goat and all of that, and I think he was an amazing Spider-Man. And I think I've said a couple of times that this Spider-Man, in my opinion, is the best Spider-Man since the first Spider-Man. In the terms that I feel like it's giving us something we haven't seen before. Like we got Spider-Man, and then ever since the first, couple of Spider-Man movies, it's been the same stuff. It's the same swinging, the same smart alecky character, the cool flips, and I think the same is true for all superhero movies. There's a certain amount of spectacle, and you just expect a certain level of like entertainment and comic booky coolness, if you will. But there was just something really cool and New Yorky, I feel like, about the first couple of Spider-Man movies. Like I think that's true with all of them for sure, but especially like that first Spider-Man movie, it just felt so grounded in New York. And I feel like the second one as well, and that's what I kind of feel like this one is too. It's like a very cool New York grounded Spider-Man film, and it's like the first time I feel like since then that we've gotten something fresh from that world and everything. So, but the Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield argument, I love them all, but I think just Tom Holland in general, he's like, the more I see about that guy, I just love his attitude. I love his approach to these characters. Like his physique level is peak, like Spider-Man animated series physique. Like he tackled that, he nailed it. Um, I feel like Toby, Andrew, they all got physically fit for the film, but nobody's approached this role quite like. I mean, he has absorbed becoming Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and he just does like an amazing job. And then I love his interactions with Z and his chemistry with her and the Punisher, John, on and off camera. Um, there was a whole bit where I'm not going to, like I said, talk about the movie too much because I do want to do a whole review, but there was a whole bit where in the movie, I think it's originally written that Punisher and MJ were supposed to not really vibe. Like they were going to be kind of like MJ's kind of put off by the Punisher's attitude. And at the tables, and Dea's like, no, like I think they would love each other. And Tom Holland was like, of course, he thought about it. He's like, yeah, of course they would. You're so right. And then that line even pops up in the movie where, she's like, I like him. And Spider-Man's like, oh, God, of course you would like it, Frank. So um, I feel like their approach, their take on the character, and then like the way they work together is just absolutely beautiful. Like I'm in love with like their relationship, their friendship, like how that all blossomed. Tom's approach to alcohol, like every time I hear his approach to alcoholism and his struggle and his story, it mirrors mine so much. It's like I would love to sit down and talk to him about a million different things, but that would be one. Like I would love to hear some of his stories and like how, like just how similar did it get? Like was it some of the same stuff where like you're sneaking drinks here and there before going on an interview, before going and doing this or going and doing that? um Kind of the same things like I would do, like I'm getting ready to go do something, let me get a few drinks in to kind of like loosen up or something like that, even if it's not nighttime. What I'm saying? Like not even like a party pregame, like, oh, we're going out drinking, just like a social thing. and being like, oh, well, let me get a few drinks in and loosen up before I go do this, that, or the other. So anyway, I would just love to kind of like pick his brain on that. But I mean, like the same approach. Like I think when I first stepped back and looked at myself and said, I think I've definitely got. Well, I knew I had a problem. I was like, I got to do something about it. Lucky for him, I think he noticed it early on. Like I wish I had noticed it at his age. But it was like I kind of the same thing. Like I gotta figure this out. And I think at first, even though as bad as it had gotten with all the day drinking and all of that, I was like, I'm just gonna get it under control. And if I can go like 6 months or something, then I'll like revisit maybe during the holidays or something like that. And then once it got to a certain point, it was just like you don't miss it. And it's like, oh man, no, this is like the happiest I've ever been. And I've heard him tell that story so many times, and I absolutely love it, love it, love it. Um, God, I feel like I'm just kind of getting started here. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to grab some more coffee. I'm going to clip this, and then I will be right back. We're going to do like a part two of Rob's Arcade in just a second. So don't go anywhere, guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Like I said, I feel like we're just getting into this. Rob's Arcade, Monday Motivation, August kickoff, July wrap up, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you all in just a bit.